Yeah, there we go. So, Mahria, are you ready? When did you start studying English?
To be honest, I started learning English about 10 months ago, and obviously I try to very hard English learning because it will definitely achieve this dream and then must be university student.
Thank you. Now, next, maybe you ready? So I'm going to ask you some questions about studying English. When did you start studying English?
Actually, I started to study English in my second grade. At the time, I was go to because it requires a lot of watching films and cartoons or listening a lot of videos on YouTube, and it gives me a lot of entertainment also, and as well as practicing. So it's really enjoyable for me. Sentences on the surfaces and so on.
Mhm. Thank you. Thank you very much. So, Mauluda, I'm going to ask you some questions about studying English. Now, when did you start studying English?
Actually, I started to learn this language a year ago. And I admit that in the past I really dislike to learn this language, but currently, to be honest, I find to learn this language very enjoyable. Language is already has become the common around the world. So I think to learn this language very important for everyone.
Thank you. Yeah. Next, Dilnaza, I'm going to ask you some questions about studying English. Now, can you tell us when you started just studying English?
Honestly, I started learning English language about 2 years ago. Honestly, in my grade seventh, my English grammar teacher inspired me to learn this language, and you also encouraged me to learn more better. In order to improve their general English, they will definitely be successful.
Mhm. So, why is English important to you?
As a matter of fact, English is my passion, and I can say that in my is my life because in order to improve my general English and get IELTS certificate, English is extremely important for me. And in addition to this, after 2 years or 3 years later into the future, I want to start studying abroad in Oxford University in the USA. So English is very important.
Thank you. Thank you much. So, Mohinur, I've got some questions for you. Now, when did you start studying English?
To be honest, I'm interested in English, and it has been almost 1 year since, and I started studying English.
What's the most enjoyable part of learning English for you?
This is good question. That's the most pleasant part of English language. If we can divide it into parts, I think the most English enjoyable part is speaking. I can say that the English language has become part of my life because I associate all my achievements and dreams with learning the English languages. Why is English languages important to me?
Mhm. Thank you. Now, next, Radha, are you ready? So, I'm going to ask you some questions about studying English. When did you start English?
Well, to be
Learning.
honest, when I was a little girl, I started to attend English courses, but unfortunately, I cannot continue this course. And after 2 years, I started to learn English. And first of all, it seems to be very difficult, but I don't give up when I achieve and it my dreams make it a reality.
and no matter how difficult it may be so seem.
Okay. Now, what's the most enjoyable part of learning English
Well,
for you?
learning English seems to be very enjoyable because when I was get up early, I always memorize lots of new words. It seems to me very interesting, and also I when I was chatting with my group mates in English, it gives me lots of motivation, and I take lots of enthusiasm for this speaking. I think it is so enjoyable for me.
Okay. Now, do you think English is more difficult to learn than other languages?
Well, sometimes it seems to be very difficult because I cannot how to use preposition, for example, by, for or other prepositions, and I think sometimes I face some grammar barriers, but I can tackle for this problem.
Why is English important to you?
Well, English is important to me, very important to me because it's directly linked with my uh, chosen field. First of all, I really interested in learning English because after I take a satisfactory result from my IELTS test, two years later I am planning to go overseas, and you know it is very important to learn a new culture or study in other university, and also it give me a lots of opportunity for my career.
Thank you. Very nice. Now, next. Now, Zarnigor, are you ready to answer my questions?
Yes.
Now, I'm going to ask you some questions about studying English. When did you start studying English?
Well, when I was elementary schooler, I started to learn English. But I learned some beginner and new words. Just I was a newbie and beginner in this field. But when I become eighth grade, I just learned English by my heart, and I just immersed myself to learn this language.
What is the most enjoyable part of learning English for you?
Well, speaking and listening skills that are the part of the English is really enjoyable for me because it can enhance my interaction with other people. The and watching movies or cartoons in the English is also another enjoyable thing. I just found it very delightful.
Do you think English is more difficult to learn than other languages?
Well, I don't think so. As an English learner, I have become cognizant that it really depends on people itself, oneself. I mean,
Thank you. Zlot, are you ready?
Yes.
I'm going to ask you some questions about studying English. When did you start studying English?
To be honestly, 5 years ago I started learning English, and since that time I had such great love to this language because I'm just by my heart try to learn all the edges in this field of this language. So nowadays I am the student and learning the practical and theoretical parts of the English language.
Okay.